All right, let's dive into this. Today, we're going to try to wrap our heads around the psychology of money.
Ooh, interesting.
We've got 3 books to pull from.
Okay.
The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco.
Yeah, so 3 very different perspectives.
Yeah, and they all kind of come at it from their own angle, but there are some interesting overlaps. Like, all 3 seem to agree that your mindset is just as important as your financial know-how.
Yeah, that's something that really jumps out at you when you read them, right? It's not just about being good at math.
No.
It's about understanding your own psychology and how that plays into your financial decisions.
Yeah, and Housel, he uses a really interesting example in The Psychology of Money. The story of Ronald Reed.
Oh yeah, Ronald Reed.
The janitor?
The janitor who became a multimillionaire, right?
Multimillionaire.
Just by consistently investing over decades.
Yeah, no inheritance, no, like, crazy risk.
No, just slow and steady, discipline.
Like the tortoise and the hare.
Exactly. It's a real-life tortoise and hare story.
And it really makes you wonder if we just overcomplicate things sometimes, you know?
I think that's one of the things I took away from these books is that financial success, a lot of the time it just comes down to simple principles.
Yeah.
Applied consistently.
Consistently over time.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Kiyosaki really hits hard in Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes, that financial literacy is key.
Financial literacy.
He really challenges the traditional idea that a good education and a steady job equals financial security.
Like, that's the path, right?
Yeah, because you can be highly educated
Yeah.
and still be terrible with money
Oh, yeah.
if you don't understand how it works.
And he really illustrates that with his whole 2 dads comparison.
Right, his own father, highly educated but struggled financially.
Versus his friend's dad,
The rich dad.
the rich dad, yeah, who was an entrepreneur.
Who understood how money works.
Yeah, it really shows how our background and what we learn about money growing up, like, shapes our whole view.
It definitely has a huge impact.
But, you know, it's not always just about hard work and smarts, right?
Right.
Luck seems to play a part, too.
Oh, absolutely. And Housel dives into that in The Psychology of Money as well.
Yeah, he talks about Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah. Bill Gates and his friend Ken Evans, both brilliant with computers,
Mm-hmm.
but only Gates had the luck of going to a school with access to a computer in the early days.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. So that early exposure really gave him a massive advantage.
It makes you think, how much is really just being in the right spot at the right time?
It's a bit of a humbling thought, isn't it? That even with all the hard work and talent in the world,
Yeah.
sometimes luck plays a huge role.
So, if that's the case, how do we deal with that?
Well, Housel doesn't say we should just give up and leave it all to chance.
Right.
He talks about the importance of room for error,
Okay.
building a financial strategy that can handle those unexpected twists and turns.
Because it's like having a buffer, you know?
Yeah, like a financial cushion for when things inevitably go wrong.
So maybe instead of trying to predict the future, which is impossible,
Right.
we should just be prepared for it to be unpredictable.
Exactly. Focus on building resilience into your financial life.
Like having an emergency fund or spreading out your investments.
Exactly. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset, luck, and being prepared for setbacks. Now let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We've been talking about getting wealthy, but what about staying wealthy?
That's a whole other challenge.
Right. Is it a different game?
I think so. Housel would agree with that.
Yeah.
He says staying wealthy is often harder than getting wealthy.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And he uses Warren Buffett as an example.
Okay.
The guy's a legend, right?
Yeah.
Decades of incredible success.
Right.
But his secret, it's not about picking the perfect stocks every time.
Yeah.
It's about the power of compounding over time.
Time, being in the game for the long haul.
Exactly. And that requires a certain mindset.
Patience.
Patience.
Discipline.
Absolutely, because it's easy to get tempted by those quick wins.
Yeah, get rich quick schemes and all that.
And Housel contrasts Buffet with Jesse Livermore.
Oh yeah, the guy who made and lost fortunes multiple times?
Brilliant trader, but he couldn't control his emotions.
Yeah.
Let his wins get to his head.
When his losses make him reckless.
Exactly. So it's not just about making money, it's about managing your emotions and having the discipline to hold on to it.
It's easy come, easy go if you're not careful.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of managing money, let's talk about one of Kiyosaki's big ideas. The difference between assets and liabilities.
That's where Rich Dad, Poor Dad really flips the script.
Totally. So how does he define them?
Well, he keeps it pretty simple. Assets put money in your pocket.
Okay.
Liabilities take money out of your pocket.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he says real wealth isn't about earning a ton of money.
Right.
It's about owning assets that generate income.
That work for you.
Yes, that work for you, even while you sleep.
And this is where he really challenges that whole idea of a house being an asset.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Like everyone says, buy a house, it's an investment.
Right, but Kiyosaki says for most people, it's actually a liability.
Because of all the expenses.
Exactly. Mortgage payments, property taxes, repairs.
Yeah, it can be a money pit.
It can be, and he's not saying don't buy a house.
Right.
He's saying understand the financial impact.
Don't just blindly follow conventional wisdom.
Right, look at the cash flow. Is it coming in or going out?
It's about being financially savvy, making informed decisions.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the rich dad approach of building wealth slowly and steadily.
Right.
Through acquiring assets and understanding cash flow.
But now let's bring in MJ DeMarco.
Yeah, he's got a totally different vibe.
He does.
He's all about the fast lane.
The fast lane, yeah. He thinks the traditional path of saving and investing small amounts is way too slow.
Too slow, too unreliable.
He wants financial freedom faster.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he thinks entrepreneurship is the key.
Building businesses.
Building businesses, yeah, that have the potential to scale quickly.
So we're talking about money trees.
Money trees. Exactly.
Systems that work for you, not the other way around.
And he emphasizes control and leverage.
Because when you own your own business, you're the one calling the shots.
You're not relying on a job or the stock market.
So how does DeMarco's fast lane fit with what we've been talking about with Housel and Kiyosaki?
That's a good question.
Are they total opposites?
I think there's actually more overlap than you might think.
Okay.
They all value financial literacy, building assets, creating passive income.
Yeah, they all want you to be in control of your money.
Exactly, not let money control you.
So it's not about choosing one approach over the other.
Right.
It's about understanding your own goals, your risk tolerance.
And finding the path that resonates with you.
So DeMarco talks about this idea of finding a need in the marketplace.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
What does he mean by that?
He says truly successful businesses, they solve problems for people.
They provide a solution to something people are struggling with.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have a cool idea.
Right.
There has to be a real demand for it.
Like those gadgets you see on late-night TV infomercials.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They seem like they're trying to create a problem just to sell you a solution.
Right. And those businesses usually don't last.
So you got to find a need that's already there, something people are actively looking for an answer to.
Exactly. And then you create the solution.
So it's not just about building a business, it's about creating something valuable for the world.
It's about making a positive impact.
Okay, so let's say you found that need and you've got this killer business idea.
Right.
But DeMarco says it's not enough to have a product. You need a system.
He calls it a business system.
And he uses this chess analogy.
Oh yeah, the chessboard.
Yeah, to explain it.
I love that analogy.
Okay, walk me through it. What are the pieces and how do they relate to building a business?
Okay, so we start with the queen.
Okay.
The most powerful piece on the board.
Right. And she represents marketing.
Marketing, getting your message out there.
Exactly. Reaching your target audience and convincing them that your product is something they need.
So it's not just about yelling into the void.
No.
It's about strategically reaching the right people.
Like a targeted missile, not a shotgun blast.
I like that.
You want to make sure your message resonates with the people who are most likely to be interested.
Okay, what about the bishop? We talked about how important customer service is.
Yeah, the bishop is all about that customer experience.
Making people feel valued.
Exactly. Exceeding expectations and building relationships.
DeMarco's got that great story about how he survived those early customer complaints in his own business.
Oh yeah, because he truly understood his service.
Yeah.
And he managed expectations really well.
It shows how important it is to go above and beyond, make those customers feel like royalty.
Exactly, even if you're selling something as simple as a toothbrush.
Okay, marketing, customer service, what's next?
The knight, which represents your product, the core of it all.
The heart of the business, the solution to the problem.
So it needs to be good.
It needs to be high quality, functional, deliver on its promises.
Ideally, something unique.
Yeah, something that stands out from the competition.
Okay, so you've got your product, you're marketing it well, and you're taking good care of your customers.
Okay.
And what about the rook?
The rook represents your people.
Your team.
Your team, your employees, your partners, your advisors, everyone who contributes to the success of the business.
So it's about building a solid crew.
It is. A team you can trust and rely on.
People who share your vision.
Absolutely. And who can help you execute your plan.
Okay, so we've got the queen, bishop, knight, and rook. What about the pawn?
The pawn represents ideas.
Okay.
And while DeMarco acknowledges that ideas are important,
Yeah.
he stresses that they're just the starting point.
Okay.
Execution is what matters most.
Vision without action is just a daydream.
Exactly. You can have the most brilliant idea in the world, but if you don't do anything with it,
Nothing's going to happen.
it's just a thought.
He's all about taking action.
He is. He criticizes analysis paralysis.
Getting stuck in planning mode forever.
Yeah, never actually launch.
Is all about intentional iteration.
Constantly testing, experimenting, refining.
Learning by doing.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting everything perfect before you start.
Right.
It's about embracing those early mistakes and using them to improve. Like a scientist in a lab.
Exactly. You're constantly experimenting and collecting data.
So being flexible and adaptable is just as important as planning and strategy.
Absolutely. And that's where choosing the right partners comes in.
Voters, yeah, he talks a lot about that.
He does. He says the right partners can make or break your business.
Especially when things get tough.
Right. So you want people you can rely on.
People who have your back.
Exactly. People who share your vision and work ethic.
And who you can communicate with openly and honestly.
That's crucial. Open communication is key in any partnership.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. We've gone from mindset to luck, from assets to the fast lane.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
We've just begun to explore these ideas.
That's the beauty of a deep dive.
We go deep. We unpack these concepts.
And hopefully this will spark some ideas for our listeners.
Give them some new perspectives on money and wealth building.
Now, if you're eager to hear more about DeMarco's fast lane strategies,
Oh yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
we're going to dive into those in part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait.
So stay tuned. We're just getting started. Welcome back to our deep dive into wealth building. We left off talking about MJ DeMarco's fast lane approach.
Yeah, he's got some really interesting ideas about how to achieve financial freedom faster than the traditional route.
All right, let's unpack that a bit more.
Okay.
We touched on the idea of building a system, not just a product.
Right. It's not enough to just have a great idea.
So how do you actually create a successful business system? Where do you even begin?
DeMarco breaks it down into some key principles and strategies. And he starts with something he calls the wealth equation.
The wealth equation, all right, lay it on me.
It's actually pretty simple. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value.
Okay, break that down.
So net profit, that's the money your business makes after you pay all the expenses.
Okay, big thing.
And asset value, that's what your business would be worth if you sold it.
So it's not just about how much money you're bringing in right now.
No.
It's about building something that has lasting value.
Exactly. Something that could be sold or leveraged in the future.
Like building a house.
Yeah, you want it to be beautiful and functional.
But you also want it to appreciate in value.
Exactly.
And this is where DeMarco's emphasis on scalability and control comes in, right?
Absolutely. He wants you to build a business that can grow exponentially.
Without being limited by your time or location?
Exactly. Think about a traditional brick-and-mortar business.
Okay.
There are only so many ways you can expand.
Right, you're stuck in that one spot.
But an online business...
You can reach the whole world.
Exactly, and scale up much faster.
So that's why he's such a big proponent of online businesses.
Yeah, they offer more freedom and flexibility.
Okay, so you've chosen your lane, you're building an online business.
Right.
But it's not just about picking the right type of business, is it?
No.
You need to create a system that can run smoothly,
A well-oiled machine.
even without you constantly having to be there.
That's where those 5 core elements of a business system come in.
The chess analogy.
Exactly.
Hey, remind me what those pieces are.
Okay, so we've got the queen, which is all about marketing.
Reaching those customers.
Exactly, and convincing them that your product or service is something they need.
Okay, then we have the bishop, which is customer service.
Making sure those customers are happy and keep coming back.
We talked about how important that wow factor is.
Yeah, exceeding expectations and building those relationships.
So what are some practical tips for creating that wow experience?
DeMarco says it's about anticipating your customers' needs.
Being proactive.
Yes, providing personalized support.
Making them feel special.
Like royalty, even if you're selling something small.
Okay, we've got marketing and customer service. What about the night?
The night, that's your product.
The core of the business.
The heart of it all, the thing that solves the problem.
So it's got to be good.
High quality, functional, and it has to deliver on its promises.
It's something that sets you apart from the competition.
Absolutely, something unique and valuable.
Okay, what about the rook?
The rook represents your people,
Your team.
your employees, partners, advisors, everyone who helps your business succeed.
A strong team is essential.
especially as your business grows.
So it's about surrounding yourself with talented and reliable people.
Yes, people who share your vision and can help you execute your plans.
Okay, and lastly, we have the pawn.
The pawn represents ideas.
But as we discussed earlier, ideas are just the beginning.
Right, they're important, but execution is key.
You got to take action.
DeMarco's a big believer in action.
Yeah, he criticizes analysis paralysis.
Yeah, getting stuck in the planning stage and never actually doing anything.
So it's better to start imperfect and adjust as you go.
He calls it intentional iteration.
Learning by doing.
Exactly. Testing, experimenting, refining based on real-world feedback.
And this ties back to Housel's idea of room for error.
Right, you have to be prepared for setbacks.
And be flexible enough to change course.
Absolutely. No business plan survives first contact with the real world completely intact.
So adaptability is key.
And that's why choosing the right partners is so important.
They can help you navigate those challenges.
So let's talk about how to choose the right partners.
Okay, give me the inside scoop.
DeMarco says the first thing is shared vision.
You and your partner need to be on the same page about where you want to go with the business.
Exactly. If one person wants to build a global empire,
And the other just wants a small lifestyle business.
you're going to have problems.
Like a road trip where you don't agree on the destination.
Exactly. And then there's work ethic.
If one person is a workaholic,
And the other is more laid back.
that's going to cause tension. It's like running a marathon with someone who has a different pace.
Exactly. And then there's trust and respect.
You got to be able to rely on your partner.
Knowing they have your best interests at heart.
Like knowing they'll catch you if you fall.
Exactly. And of course, communication.
Yeah, got to be able to talk things out.
Openly and honestly, work through disagreements, keep each other in the loop.
So shared vision, work ethic, trust, respect, and communication.
Those are the 5 pillars of a successful partnership.
Okay, so we've got these 5 core elements of a fast lane business.
Marketing, customer service, product, people, and ideas.
But what about the actual nuts and bolts of building a business? Where do you start?
DeMarco has some specific action steps you can take.
All right, give me the to-do list.
First, you need to define your offer.
What problem are you solving? What value are you providing?
Exactly. Be clear and concise.
Like a killer elevator pitch.
Then you need to identify your ideal customer.
Who are you trying to reach?
What are their demographics, interests, pain points?
This is where market research comes in, right?
Exactly. You need to know your target market.
Like a general scoping out the battlefield.
Once you know who you're targeting, you choose your lane.
What kind of business model will you use?
Online store, subscription service, app, something else.
Like choosing the right vehicle for your journey?
Then you establish your brand.
What's the personality of your business?
What are your core values? What image do you want to project?
Your brand sets you apart.
It's what makes you memorable.
Okay, branding, check. What's next?
Pricing, figure out how much to charge.
Not too high, not too low.
Find that sweet spot.
Then you got to figure out funding.
Where will the money come from?
Bootstrapping, investors, loans.
Find the right fuel for your rocket ship.
Then you build your product or service,
Bring that idea to life,
the engine of your business.
and then validate it. Make sure it actually works.
Give feedback, make tweaks.
Like test driving your race car.
Okay, product is validated, now what?
Build your sales funnel.
That's how you turn leads into customers.
Like a pipeline guiding them towards a purchase.
Okay, the leads are flowing, we're ready to launch.
Time to make it official, open the doors.
Exciting and scary all at the same time.
But your work isn't done. You need to track your results.
Analyze the data, make adjustments,
That intentional iteration we talked about.
constant improvement.
And DeMarco talks about automation and replication.
Building a business that can run itself,
So you can work on it, not in it.
that's the dream.
The fast lane dream, financial freedom.
But before we move on, I want to circle back to this idea of providing value.
DeMarco's a big believer in that.
It's not about just chasing money.
It's about creating something that benefits others.
It's about making a positive impact.
He says if you focus on value, the profits will follow.
It makes me think about all those get-rich-quick schemes.
The ones that promise easy money without any real effort,
They usually don't last,
because they're not built on a foundation of value.
like a house built on sand.
The fast lane is about building something meaningful and sustainable.
Something that generates wealth and makes the world a better place. So it's about finding that sweet spot where passion, purpose, and profit align.
Exactly. That's where the magic happens.
We've covered a lot of ground with DeMarco and the fast lane,
We have.
but there's another book I want to bring into the conversation.
Okay.
A classic that offers timeless advice on financial success.
I'm intrigued.
The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So we've explored those modern takes on wealth building.
Yeah, lots of different perspectives.
But now I want to bring in a book that's been around for almost a century.
Ooh, a classic.
The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason.
Oh, I love that book.
It's a collection of parables set in ancient Babylon.
Yeah, but the lessons are surprisingly relevant today.
It's amazing how much those basic principles about money still hold up.
Human nature doesn't really change, does it?
No, we're still drawn to those shiny things.
We still make the same mistakes.
Exactly. And one of the key principles in the book is this idea of paying yourself first.
Ah, such a simple but powerful concept.
So what does that actually mean?
Clason says you should set aside at least 10% of your income
Okay.
for savings and investment.
Before you pay any other bills.
Exactly, before anything else.
It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first.
Right. You have to take care of yourself before you can help others.
Make sure your future self is taken care of.
It's so easy to get caught up in those day-to-day expenses.
Yeah. Got to prioritize those long-term goals.
It's about shifting your mindset from spending to saving,
Building that habit of putting money aside.
even if it's just a small amount at first.
Yeah, those small amounts add up over time.
The power of consistency.
The Richest Man in Babylon also talks about seeking wise counsel,
Yeah, finding people who know what they're doing.
learning from those who have already achieved success.
Because there are a lot of traps out there.
Get-rich-quick schemes, shady investments.
It's easy to get fooled if you don't know what to look for.
So, find a mentor, someone you trust.
Someone who's been there and done that.
Get their advice before you make any big financial decisions.
It's like having a map when you're exploring unfamiliar territory.
Okay, we've got pay yourself first and seek wise counsel. What else does The Richest Man in Babylon recommend?
Well, another big one is living within your means.
Avoiding that dreaded debt.
Yeah, make sure your expenses don't exceed your income.
That can be tough these days.
It is. There's so much pressure to spend.
Keeping up with the Joneses, as they say.
But it's a recipe for disaster.
You gotta be mindful of where your money's going.
Prioritize needs over wants.
Make conscious choices about your spending.
It's not about deprivation.
Right. It's about being intentional
Creating a budget that works for you.
and sticking to it.
The Richest Man in Babylon also talks about investing wisely.
Putting your money to work for you.
Yeah, making it grow over time.
The power of compounding again.
It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into a mighty tree.
So we've got these 4 key principles from The Richest Man in Babylon.
Pay yourself first, seek wise counsel, live within your means, and invest wisely.
Combined with all the insights we've gleaned from Housel, Kiyosaki, and DeMarco.
It's a pretty solid foundation for building wealth.
A whole toolkit of strategies and perspectives.
Choose the ones that resonate with you.
Adapt them to your own situation.
The key is to take action.
Don't just sit there and dream about it.
Start small, be consistent, and keep learning.
So what's the biggest takeaway from all of this?
I think it's that financial success is within your reach.
It's not about luck or circumstance.
It's about making conscious choices, educating yourself, and taking control.
Whether you choose the slow and steady path or the fast lane.
The key is to be intentional and persistent.
And remember, the journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the world of money.
Until next time.
It's your father.